the campus at Penn State at one of the most iconic sports venues in the country. Rec Hall, home to the number 5 Penn State Nittany Lions men's gymnastics team, taking on the Nebraska Cornhuskers, who happen to be number 4 in the country. But it is indeed a big day for Penn State, as they have a chance to clinch a share of the regular season title with the win over Nebraska and celebrate with t-shirts and trophies. And good afternoon, alongside Michigan gymnast Brandon Burns, I'm Dean Lincoln. That's the story. Senior Day, Penn State can celebrate with t-shirts and trophies.
That's right. There is a regular season title on the line here tonight, but both of these teams have veteran lineups, and they're both coming off of massive wins against nationally ranked teams. I expect this meet to be an absolute dogfight until the very last routine.
So glad you mentioned veterans, because when we start with Nebraska, those first two have been there forever.
That's right. This Nebraska Cornhusker team is led by Nissen Emery finalist Taylor Christopoulos. And just look at the stat line. 8-time All-American. Talk about a career, but this young man is far from done. We'll see a lot of him tonight. But if you like Christopoulos, how about Yanni Chronopoulos? Say that 5 times fast. Yanni was an alternate for the 2024 Canadian Olympic team, and we'll see him on 4 events tonight. Lastly, Chase Mondi, currently ranked 2nd in the country on floor, with one of the biggest routines you'll see, not just in the conference, but in the world.
And for Penn State, we'll start with a Big Ten champion from just 1 year ago.
That's right. He's also a Nissen Emery finalist, Josh Carnes. He's a Big Ten champion on parallel bars, but when he's healthy, he's a force to be reckoned with on every event. We'll see a lot from him tonight. His teammate, Michael Artlip, was described as a sticking machine by head coach Randy Jepson, especially on floor exercise, so look for a clean routine from him there. Finally, Ian Robel, a member of the Swiss national team, brings great consistency on both rings and parallel bars for this Nittany Lion team.
As always, the Big Ten will feature prominently in the top 10. There's Oklahoma and Stanford, then all 5 Big Ten teams, and really all 5 could make a run at a national championship.
That's right. The conference is so competitive this year. Whoever hits is going to win.
Now, the big change, though, is 4 up, 4 count, and they'll do every rotation together on the same apparatus, and you can break down the execution part of it.
So every skill in gymnastics is assigned a difficulty value. You add up the 8 most difficult skills in a gymnast routine. That's down from 10 last year, and that's your total difficulty score. Separately, your execution score starts at a perfect 10, and as the athletes do their routine, the judges deduct for any errors. At the end, we take your difficulty score, add to what's left of execution, and that's your final score.
Chuck Chimelka, 16th season as Nebraska head coach, was a great athlete there, as well as his wife. And then Randy Jepson, 34 years at Penn State, as Randy Jepson, he looks younger every day.
He's the fountain of youth, that guy.
We're going to start on floor. And as we do, there might be some big-time men's gymnastics fans out there that aren't even aware of the change to 4 up, 4 count from 5 up, 5 count.
That's right, and I think this is going to make the scoring even tighter and more competitive than it ever has been before. Typically in a gymnastics lineup, the difference in difficulty between your 4th man up and 5th man up was a greater difference than anywhere else. Condensing the lineup to 4 people only is going to make this even more competitive. And when you have guys sticking mounts like that, front full to a double front, stuck as first pass out, and a second stick immediately, you're going to have to be on your game to beat a guy like this.
Yeah, Michael Artlip off to a good start. He's got a career high, season high of 13.8. Last week, just below that at 13.5.
Now, this is interesting, Dean. This is a scale, and this is required on floor exercise now. Every athlete must complete a balance on one leg like that, or else they will incur a 3/10 neutral deduction. We mentioned it during the open, Dean. This guy is a sticking machine. He's stuck 3 so far. Can he stick his dismount? Double pike. doesn't get the stick, a big slide back. That'll be a 3/10 deduction, but nonetheless a very solid opener for the Nittany Lions by way of Michael Artlip.
Indeed, Nebraska. Let's take a look at the last pass here.
And this is another one of those rule changes, double pike. It's no longer a C value skill. That's now a D difficulty value skill. We'll be talking about those rule changes all afternoon today.
All right, Nathan York, a junior from Plainfield, Illinois, with a 13-9 career high, season high, and that was his score in his last meet. You see the career high right there, ranked number 21 in the country.
And you see he is getting every inch of floor space that he can. His heels were on that white tape. On is in, so that's not a deduction, but he's maximizing the use of that space. Nathan has a very airy, lofty tumbling style. Almost makes it look easy and casual the way that he tumbles.
York has 3 individual titles this year, but none on floor, 2 on the P-bars and 1 on vault.
Nice landing there on that 2.5 punch front layout. His dismount is tougher than what you'll see a lot of other guys do. It's a full twisting double back, but he does not grab his legs. Watch his arm position. Stays open the whole time. Gorgeous in the air. Slight step back. That'll be a 1/10 deduction, but overall great routine there from Nathan York to kick things off for the Cornhuskers. Here's the last pass one more time. Just look at how much height he gets. It almost makes me mad to watch that, Dean. He makes it look so easy. I've done that skill before, I can tell you. He makes it look a whole lot easier than it really is in real life.
So Josh Carnes featured in the open with a 13.75 career high and season high. You see Artlip in with the 13.7.
And that 13.7 is great for Artlip. Remember, only 8 skills now. So overall scores will be lower than last year due to slightly less difficulty in these routines. And Dean, this is another one of those rule changes for 2025. You can only count 1 strength skill and 1 circle or flare element on floor exercise. So no more are the days of 3 or 4 different non-acrobatic skills. You can only count a couple. Great job from Carnes there. Gets the stick. That was an Arabian double front half out. Allows him to look at the floor at the end of that skill. Dials in for the stick there. Fantastic job from Josh Carnes. Here's that flare sequence we were talking about. He does a full spindle, then goes up to the handstand, full pirouette. And here's another look at that dismount. Watch the stick. You see his eyes lock onto the floor. And he just finds that landing seamlessly. That'll score very well.
For Nebraska, it'll be Luke James, career high, season high, 13.7.
And in speaking to Coach Chamelka prior to the meet, he said they've tried a lot of different floor lineups thus far. Ironically, this lineup is exactly the same as what they did last time out when they took down number 3 in the country, Ohio State. He found something that worked, and he's sticking with it.
Luke does have 1 individual title on the floor this season.
Beautiful double full side pass there, textbook form. It'll be interesting to compare Luke's score with his teammate Nathan York, who went just before him, because these guys have almost identical routines, so the score really comes down to who executes better.
Nebraska as a team owns a narrow 8-7 advantage in their matchups, as a little stumble there by James to end.
And to me, Dean, that looked like he was trying too hard to stick. In gymnastics, you'd never want to try to stick. You want to just do a good dismount and then let the stick happen. Here's a good look at that combination move. 2.5 to a front layout. Good patience on the landing there. A lot of guys would have taken a hop or a step forward. Luke knows how to really slow down, absorb that landing, and control it.
Matt Cormier, the grad student for Penn State, 13.35, career high, season high.
And Matt has some of the most gorgeous form on this event that you will ever see. Hasn't been in the lineup as much this year, battling some injuries, but just look at the execution. I'd be hard-pressed to take a single tenth of deduction on that pass, Dean.
That was clean. Just the one little hop there on that pass.
Good flare work here. And again, this all technically counts as one skill. I know it looks like he's doing a lot, and he certainly is, but it only counts as one D-value skill for all of that. Oh, and he gave up some points there. That's an easy pass for him. That was probably a 3/10 hop. And so is that wobble. That's at least 1/10 there. You don't want to give up anything to the judges on these easy skills. But he made up for it on the dismount, half in, half out, with an easy stick for Matt Cormier. Remember, Dean, that also will get him the stick bonus, which will give him an additional 10th onto his difficulty value. Take a look at it one more time. Watch the amplitude. There's a half turn in the first flip, half turn in the second flip. The judges, they might take a 10th or so for that little arm movement, but hey, he got the stick, and that's what matters.
Feeding off the momentum of Josh Carnes, who sets a career high, 14.15, well north of his previous high, 13.75. Here's Chase Mondi, number 2 in the country, with a 14.2 career and season high set this year.
And Dean, this routine is jam-packed with difficulty. One of the most difficult in the entire country right now. Opens up with an almost casual double front down the side. But look at this. Simone Biles made this skill famous. It's a triple twisting, double backflip, 3 twists, 2 flips. Just a little under-rotated, but goodness, the level of difficulty on this routine is immense. He's not done yet, though. Watch this. Oh, just a full twist. I've seen him do this routine with a double twisting double layout right there. He elects to take one twist out, and I don't blame him. Oh, and he looks tired on this routine. That was supposed to be, I believe, a punch front layout there. You saw his knees buckle just a little bit when he hit the ground. And he needs to use this opportunity right here to catch his breath. This scale is an opportunity to rest the mind, rest the body, breathe, and prepare for the dismount. Again, this is a tiring routine. Big dismount, half in, half out. He manages to clean it up a little bit towards the end. Now, Dean, the good thing is his difficulty is so high, it'll still score decent, but it's certainly not what he's capable of. Watch this, the 1, 2, 3. Unreal. You'll see a lot of guys do double twisting double backs. Adding the extra full twist exponentially increases difficulty.
Brandon, it just felt like, though, every pass his chest was down.
Exactly. He looked a little tired. He looked a little bit labored, like it was difficult for him. I've seen him do that routine a lot better than that. He'll be looking to improve on the execution throughout the rest of the season.
Here's Oxley Karsikis with a 13.8 career high. He's 8th in the country.
And this guy is aggressive in everything he does. He does not hold back. You saw that double layout there. Could park a semi-truck under it. It was so high. And that's a good stick right there. That's a tough skill to stick. A back 2.5. It's a blind landing. Whenever you land forward like that, you don't really see the floor until your feet are on it. And that was tough too, Dean. A straight planche press handstand.
Sophomore from Finland.
And Karsikis is actually on the Finnish national team. Penn State has a lot of these guys that compete for other countries internationally as well. Big dismount, full twisting double back. Nicely done. What a way to cap off that Nittany Lion floor rotation. Check out this back 2.5. Gets the stick. You see he leaves his head behind him a little bit just to keep an eye on the floor. Here's the dismount. Grabs his knees, just the slightest little step back with that left foot. It was almost hard to see it in real time. But overall, a clean routine there from Karsikis.
So 2 career highs for Penn State here on senior day, as Cormier with a 13.8, also with a new career high. As we go to the anchor for Nebraska, Taylor Christopoulos with a career high of 13.65.
And this decision right here is very unique. That mandatory scale, he does it at the very beginning of his routine. Most guys use that as a little bit of a break, but not Taylor. And look at that layout, double-double. That's about as good as you can do it. 2 flips, 2 twists with a straight body. And he struggled on that last meet, that front double pike. No problem today. Wide arm press handstand. The standards on that skill have gotten increasingly more stringent as time has gone on over the last few years. You saw him roll his head to the side just to show off to the judges, hey, I can't go any lower to the ground than this. And that, I believe, was an upgrade. Full twisting, double layout. Second to last pass. Dismounts there with a full twisting double back. By the way, little pause there from Taylor Christopoulos. But these dismounts are required now. You must do a double flipping dismount in this new code in order to not receive a 3/10 neutral deduction. There's that full twisting double layout again. And when you're that late in a routine, the amount of energy required is immense. That is tough stuff.
All right, we're off and rolling with 2 career highs from Penn State at home as they try to clinch a regular season title. New career high for Josh Carnes. Second rotation around the corner. Gymnastics on the Big Ten Network is brought to you by State Farm. Like your good neighbor, State Farm is there. Happy Valley on the campus of Penn State as we take a look at our State Farm State of Success. And the 2 Cornhuskers that you led were 2 of the 3 winners of the Men's Gymnastics Weekly Awards for the Big Ten.
As they should be. I mean, look at that 14.25 from Taylor Christopoulos. Again, scores are lower this year than they have been in the past, so it's worth re-emphasizing. That's a big, big number. And then for the Illini there, Matthew Nguyen, 14.25 as a freshman. These guys are putting up big numbers, Dean.
All right, that is our State Farm State of Success. Congratulations to all 3 of them, including 2 that are featured today. So through the first rotation with 2 career highs, Carnes with a career high, Cormier with a career high, and Penn State leads it with a 55.55 through 1 rotation. When we go to the Pommel horse, Nebraska is ranked 6th in the country, and Penn State is ranked 7th. Yanni Chronopoulos with a 13.9 career high and season high will lead off for Coach Jamelka and Nebraska.
And Coach Jamelka mentioned that this event would be critical in this competition in particular. He said Penn State is very formidable this year, and if they want to win, they have to capitalize on this event. Really good form so far here from Yanni. In the past, I've seen him break into circles that look a little bit muscled and forced. He's not doing that today. This has been smooth. Just the dismount, goes up to handstand, no trouble. Phenomenal leadoff for the Cornhuskers. That's about the best horse routine I think I've ever seen him do.
We'll see if he can beat his career high of 13.9.
Here's that dismount. Flies up there with no hesitation. The dismount is critical, especially these days. They downgraded the Russian-style dismounts, making it almost mandatory if you want to get a big score that you have to do that handstand-style dismount, which is tough for a lot of pommel horse workers.
Big smile from Chuck. You also saw Jim Hartung a moment ago, the legend. Here's Ethan Dick. He's a senior from New Zealand. See his career high 13.7.
Coach Jepson said that consistency is key this time around. He doesn't really have a heavy hitter like he did in years past with big names like Steven Nedorozic. He said every single man in lineup needs to do their job this year. Ethan has a unique way of swinging horse here. He almost looks like he swings in slow motion sometimes. He's just so controlled and composed on this event, but it's working for him. He's been a rock of consistency the entire season for the Nittany Lions, and he proves it yet again here as the leadoff on horse. We joked about the slow motion circles. Here's the real life slow motion. Looks even better. Great form there from Ethan.
He likes it. Coach Jepson likes it. As we'll move to Travis Wong, second in the 4-up, 4 count for the Cornhuskers.
Next up on the pommel horse for Nebraska, Travis Wong.
See the score, 14.2, and Wong's career high 12.8.
And he hasn't competed a lot this year on this event, but look at the amplitude on those scissor skills right there, just flying above the horse. Got a lot of potential, but he's got to stay clean, especially right here. That skill is about as good as I've ever seen him do it. It's called a sewn or a full twisting kier. It's been downgraded in the code this year, but if you can do it as cleanly as Travis just did, then why not?
Travis in 23 and 24 was an NCAA team finals competitor on the horse.
And that was a great routine for Travis. Not the highest level of difficulty that we'll see on pommel horse today, but that was as clean as I've seen him do a pommel horse routine.
Pommel horse for Penn State's Ethan Dick, 13.5.
So you just heard the score for Penn State's opener, Ethan Dick with a 13.5, just under his career high. Casper Garnzarek, he's got a C in there, but it's silent. He's got a 13.7 career high, 13.15 his last time out.
He has nice long lines on this event, and that's even more important than it ever has been before. It's worth noting in the official code of points, the phrase circles with slightly hollow position are permitted has been removed, which gives judges free rein to be as strict as they want on the body line during these circles here. That's a tough sequence. Flop on one pommel right there, going straight into that travel all the way across the horse. Just the dismount left a little slow to get up there, but adds the extra pirouette, and he's happy with it, as he should be. That dismount was actually a little bit of an upgrade. That extra pirouette down the length of the horse doesn't look like much, but here's the difference. Right there, if he gets off, it's a D dismount. Right here, that's an E dismount. And that extra tenth goes a long way.
Score update on the pommel horse for Nebraska's Travis Wong, 13.45.
You just heard the number for Travis Wong. That's a new career high for him. Now Nathan York
Next up on the
with
Pommel
the
horse
career
for
and season
Nebraska,
high of
Nathan York.
13.95. Last week, 13.75. Number 13 in the country.
He does a lot of work on one pommel. Very, very intricate. Those pommels are so thin. If you make one slight misstep with your hand, there is no saving it. We'll start right here. There's that full spin on one arm, done well. And here's the one pommel work. Beautifully done. That's called a flop sequence. When he spends that time on one pommel, watch his right hand right there. It's almost vertical on the handle. That's how little space you have to work with. This is great so far. Just the dismount, flies up to it. He also adds the extra pirouette. That is going to be a big number. And here's a great look at the intricacy of this single pommel work. Look at his right hand right there. He's got half his hand hanging off the pommel. And another look at the dismount with the extra pirouette. Dean, it's worth mentioning that the dismount is disproportionately credited this time around in the new code because the element group credit that you get for your dismount is equivalent to the difficulty value of your dismount, meaning you basically get double points if you do a really hard dismount.
All right, good stuff. As we move to Landon Simpson, 13.45 career high. Kind of had a, really the entire team was down a little bit in their last performance on the horse as he had a 12.95.
And buckle up for this routine. He has a dynamic set. He does a lot of flares starting right here. Spindle over one pommel, and it looked to me like he almost leaned back too much there. He saved it, made it look effortless. But again, these flares take so much energy, and you could hear his foot hit the horse there. He made it look like it was nothing.
Well, he made me tired. He was flying.
Let's see if we can hear this again. And folks, that's his foot hitting the pommel horse. No matter how dramatic it sounded, it felt worse.
Yeah.
I can guarantee you that.
But he battled through it as the anchor is one of the best to come through the Cornhusker program, Taylor Christopoulos. 14.2 career and season high, 12th in the nation.
Taylor does a lot of traveling elements, so he'll be moving across the horse quite a bit during this routine. Another rule update, skew deductions, meaning if you're facing off to the side instead of directly in line with the pommel horse, those are not taken per section anymore. Those are taken per element. And they take the worst one, so if at any point you skew too much, that's the deduction that they take these days.
Back-to-back years as the team captain, true leader of the program.
And he's fighting through this one, Dean. You saw him slow down, adds the pirouette at the end. Great recovery. He had to work for it, but he got it done.
Score update on the pommel horse for Penn State's Landon Simpson, 13.35.
So Landon Simpson just under his career and season high, as the anchor for Coach Jepson and Penn State will be Josh Carnes. And you mentioned Steven Netarosik. I actually had the great honor of going to the Olympics. I lost the lottery with my family. My son and his friend got Simone Biles and got men's gymnastics, including Netarosik's amazing finish to get the bronze on the horse and give the U.S. team the bronze.
They just got spoiled with gymnastics then, huh? They got to see everything. That was a tough skill right there from Carnes. That's called a Busnari. He went up to a handstand and back down. That is difficult work here from Carnes. Oh, and he's got to fight to get this back. Unbelievable. He's still hanging on. And still does the extra pirouette at the end. What a fight from Carnes. Most athletes would have fallen off there. That just goes to show the amount of control and strength that Josh has. Here's that Busnari skill, though. Look at the intricacy all the way up to the handstand and back down. And again, there is not a lot of room for error in a routine like that.
Derek Schlagenhoff will be exhibition. It's senior night, so they have slid in. Penn State has a few exhibitions. Nebraska has not. Senior night for the Penn State Nittany Lions, and there's quite a few veterans on this team.
And I know this is important for Derek, even though this is an exhibition and thus will not count towards the team total. As a senior at home for the last time here in Rec Hall, you want to make it a good one. Nice travel sequence to get things started. He's got long lines. He's built for this event. Nice one pommel work there. He does the full spin. He gets it. I'm surprised he went for it that late in the routine. Just the dismount left. No pirouette, but that's pretty solid. And the hug from head coach Jepson for a great routine to cap off a phenomenal career.
So Nebraska trying to pull closer after seeing Penn State with a career high, season high rather, on the floor. Nebraska, third rotation, will head to the rings. Experience the expanded Big Ten Conference like never before with Big Ten Plus. Stream thousands of non-televised live events across the Big Ten. Plus enjoy next day game replays for every Big Ten game. Subscribe right now at BigTenPlus.com. 2 rotations in the books here at Rec Hall on the campus of Penn State. Let's break down the last rotation.
Well, you see the biggest number on the screen right now is Yanni Chronopoulos, 14.2. That did the Cornhuskers a lot of favors, closed the gap to within a half a tenth after that floor rotation. Things are pretty much neck and neck right now, which is what we expected during the Open. But both teams, this is significant, managed to get through their pommel horse rotation without a fall and without a major break. Pommel horse is the one event that can absolutely make or break a gymnastics meet. They both got through it seamlessly.
Penn State on senior day with a season high on the floor and then a season high on the horse. That is the way to wrap up your time at Rec Hall as we'll head to the rings. Penn State wrapping up their conference competition today, but a couple big-time duels coming up on the Big Ten Network.
And that Michigan-Nebraska meet will be critical to see who will potentially get another share of that regular season Big Ten championship.
And we'll be back with you March 25th. Number 6 Illinois at number 3 Ohio State. You said the Buckeyes a really strong team. Michigan beat them, but you like the Buckeyes.
The Buckeyes have such an incredibly talented team this year. The meet yesterday was interesting because Michigan hadn't really showcased a full strength lineup until yesterday, notably their Olympians, Fred Richard and Paul Judah. But yesterday they brought out the big guns and put up a 328 with the top score in the nation right now, sitting at a 330. So just goes to show that the Big Ten Conference is here to contend for a national title this year.
Second in the country, Penn State on the rings. Can they make it 3 season highs as they set a season high on the floor and the horse? Penn State did. You're right, Nebraska did well to claw back into that, but Penn State performing at a high level here at Rec Hall. It'll be Kellen Ryan. Nebraska will lead off with James Friedman on the rings. Nebraska second in the nation. Penn State fourth in the nation. And check this out. Penn State second in the Big Ten. Nebraska's number one in the Big Ten.
And the Nittany Lions have always had a culture of great ringmen. They've always been strong on this event. This year is no exception. Kellen Ryan here opens up with a fantastic backup rise iron cross. Most guys will go a little bit above ring height and settle into the cross. Not the case for Kellen. He gets straight to it.
Spent some time with the Minnesota club team before making his way to Randy Jepson and the Nittany Lions.
Dean, he's got a great dismount coming up in just a second. He does a double twisting, double back, but watch the kick out. Beautiful, and gets the stick. He's like, yeah, I do this every week. Well, you should be used to it by now.
That was really clean.
It's gorgeous. It's a tucked double-double, but the last flip almost looks laid out. Watch this. Bent knees, boom, straight. That's called a kick out, when you open up your body to get ready for the stick, and he does it better than just about anybody in the country.
So that'll move us to James Friedman, the grad student, with a 13.85 career and season high. Last week, 13.7, so he's top 10 in the country.
He has a great look in his swing elements, particularly his giant. Very elegant. His strength skills sometimes give him a little bit of trouble. Let's take a look here. Back up rise, straight planche. Lowered down into a Maltese. And that's about the best Maltese I've seen him do. That was solid. Dean, that was changed for this year. Those Yamawaki skills, the double fronts between the rings, they were actually downgraded unless you do that back giant. There's a nice double twisting, double back dismount. When you do a back uprise handstand out of the Yamawaki like that, it almost gives you the still rings version of connection bonus. Here's that strength sequence. Back uprise, straight planche. It's a little shaking, but the level is very, very good. You want these guys to be completely parallel to the floor in those strength skills, and James did a great job there.
Well, you could feel the extra focus on the strength skills based on what you said. That was his weakness, but he looked pretty good.
You've been able to watch him actually grow just this season alone in his strength on rings.
Axel Karsikis, 24th in the country. Ready to go with a 13.45 set this year as his career and season high.
And Coach Jepson said Axeli did the best ring set of his life last week against Illinois, looking to see if he can do it again. And there's that sequence we talked about, the Yamawakis directly into the back uprise handstand. But look at that, lowering down into a straight planche from a handstand. You kidding me?
Karsikis did his best routine of his life last week at Illinois.
Good double-double dismount there. Watch this, lowering down into a straight planche. The reason that's so difficult is because you're not just working during the strength position hold, you're working the entire way down to get to the position. That's about the hardest way you can do a straight planche on rings. He made it look easy.
All right, Asher Cohen, second to go. Chuck Chimelka married a gymnast from Nebraska. They had one child, and that one son is married and expecting a baby this summer. And on both families, it's their first grandkid, and he was giddy about it. So congratulations to the entire Chimelka family, as they're going to welcome a boy, is what he said.
I wonder if he'll end up following the family tradition of gymnastics. right here, though. This is a tough opening sequence from Asher. 3 strength skills back to back to back. No rest at all. Goes all the way from the straight planche above the rings, down to the Maltese between the rings, and then the bounce cross Nakayama under the rings. Incredibly strong. Another big dismount, Dean. Double twisting, double back, and nails the dismount. He looked like he was shot out of a cannon.
Asher Cohen is fired up.
Here's that dismount again, just drops out of the sky. Again, that is a 1/10 stick bonus, and he avoids the deduction for taking a hop or a step as well. So if he had taken a 3/10 step, that's a 4/10 swing there.
You see that 13.15 for Kellen Ryan. Guess what? That's another career high for Penn State as they are making their senior day here at Rec Hall count. Ian Raubel with a 13.85 career and season high.
And Ian has great positions in his strength skills on rings. Just count the time, because remember, every skill is supposed to be held for 2 full seconds.
Jepson says his team has been clean and strong on rings all season long.
And you see his body position start to change from that nice straight line, breaks into a little bit of an arch right at the end of the strength hold. That's the type of things that the judges are looking for. They want complete stillness for 2 full seconds. Dean, I think he launches his double twisting, double back dismount better than anybody in the country. Watch this. Just rockets above the rings. Nobody gets higher on a double-double off of rings than Ian Raubel.
Another stuck landing.
Here's that Maltese again. Watch his core. It starts to sink right there. The judges might say that that counts as not holding it for a full 2 seconds. Look at that double-double, though. I mean, he's well above ring height, even when he finishes the twist. Unbelievable.
So that'll lead us to Yanni Chronopoulos with a 14.25 career high. See the scores that are in for Friedman and Cohen with Heiser as your anchor. You mentioned already a Canadian Olympic alternate member for the past Olympics in Paris.
And that's a skill you don't see as much anymore, Dean. The Azarian to a Maltese. That was downgraded this most recent revision of the code, only an E value skill. But some athletes actually find the Azarian Maltese easier than the back uprise Maltese, even though they're the same value. Just depends on what you're used to and which skill you've trained more of. Just a little bobble in the handstand there. He's got to be careful to still the swing. Another stick. Somebody put some glue on the rings, Matt, Dean, because everybody's sticking these double twisting, double back dismounts. And there's that little swing. It's called the still rings for a reason. Every time you swing back and forth, the judges deduct 1/10 of a point. Not a huge deal, but that right there is a huge deal. Stuck dismount, no deductions on steps, and gets the stick bonus. That'll score well.
They're sticking and they're popping the mat. I mean, you can hear it as we get ready for Matthew Underhill, who's been stellar, got third at the Winter Cup. And Matthew Underhill with a career high of 14.2. That's formidable.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a different level of strength. We've seen some phenomenal strength skills on rings thus far in the lineups, but this is another level. Watch this. Back uprise Maltese, anti-gravity up to the flange, then goes all the way back down for the bounce cross known as a Nakayama.
With limited ring movement.
Exactly. Controlled the movement the entire way through. And I'll tell you, Dean, doing that bounce cross when you're all the way above the rings, you have to lower yourself that far down. So much more difficult than doing it from a Maltese. And at this point, after all that strength, you're just absolutely gassed, trying to hold on for dear life. But not a problem for Matt Underhill with the stuck dismount after all of that. Here's that strength sequence. Back up rise Maltese, up to the flange. It's the most difficult strength skill we've seen all day so far. And again, does not move when he hits the mat. Textbook gymnastics.
He may have a career high. That was a beautiful job on the rings there from Matt Underhill. And I tell you, you got us all hyped up for his strength, and he brought a little bit more. I mean, doubled down on his strength.
He's the full package.
So Chris Heiser now ready to go. You saw his career high there. He's already been a two-time individual title winner this year on the rings. He won one last year. In 23, he had 3 individual titles on the rings. Here we go. We're talking about Chris Heiser, the anchor for the Cornhuskers.
Coach Jamelka said that the rings had been Nebraska's Achilles heel for the longest time, but not anymore, in part thanks to guys like Chris Heiser. Look at these strength positions. Right there, look at how flat that Maltese is. Nobody does a Maltese position better than Chris Heiser.
Senior from Long Meadow, Mass.
Little bobble in the handstand there. Did a great job of catching it. When you lose control on a handstand on rings, it's tougher to regain control than you might think. And he's fired up for that routine. One of the cleanest ring workers in the country. There's the back upright straddle flange down to the Maltese. I mean, Dean, if you're building something at home, you don't need a leveling tool. Just print out a picture of Chris Heiser doing a Maltese. It's basically the same thing.
I don't build too many things at home, though.
Neither do I.
But he was definitely fired up for a reason. Yanni Chronopoulos, incredible for Nebraska. Matt Underhill, so much power. Rotation 4 around the corner. Friday, the Huskers are back in action when they host Michigan in a top 10 matchup. Live coverage begins at 8 Eastern in Lincoln, 5 Pacific, only on the Big Ten Network and the Fox Sports app. And it is worth reminding you what's at stake here. Penn State at 2-1, their final Big Ten match of the season. They have had 3 season highs out of the 4 rotations so far, and yet they're trailing Nebraska. So I can't quite explain that.
Well, when Nebraska sticks as many dismounts as they did during that rotation, it's so tough to keep up. Granted, Penn State stuck quite a few dismounts of their own, but remember, both teams are going into the highest scoring event in men's gymnastics right now, which is the vault, so there's still plenty of gymnastics left to go.
A win today, and Penn State clinches a share of the Big Ten regular season title. And really what it's telling you that Penn State has elevated their game, but Nebraska has taken it to another elevation.
Both of these teams are so good this year. The competitiveness in the conference is out of control.
Rotation 4, Luke James. Nebraska on the vault, 2nd in the nation. Penn State 5th in the nation. So another opportunity for Nebraska to increase the lead that they now have. You see the 164.65. First time they've been in the lead. Penn State at 163.6.
Remember, Dean, Nebraska is leading right now by about 1 point. 1 fall on any event is a 1-point deduction. So when we say that things can change quickly, we mean it.
It'll be James, Chrysopoulos, York, and Mondi, the 4 for the Cornhuskers. Luke James with a 14.2 career high.
Typically has really nice form on this vault. Gorgeous in the air. Very few people in the country can do that vault. It's a Kazumatsu full and a half, 2.5 twists all the way around. The feet and legs glued together. You cannot take a deduction on that vault in the air, even in slow motion. Gorgeous.
So James in 2023 was an NCAA team finals competitor on the vault as well as the floor. As we move to Kellen Ryan, Penn State 4th in the Big Ten, 5th in the nation. And Kellen Ryan with a 14.2 career high. His last meet, he had a 13.8.
Coach Jepson said that Kellen is stellar on this event, that he has great landings typically. Just needs to be careful about his form coming up onto the table at the very beginning of the vault.
Come on, baby.
And that was great. Almost got the stick, just a little bit under-rotated. All in all, that's a clean vault. Watch as he goes up in the air. Right there, that leg separation, the judges will get him for. But a decent landing. He did a good job of being patient there, absorbing the impact and not scrambling backwards.
Brandon, I feel like he normally gets a little bit more elevation, which I think affected him trying to stick right there.
Absolutely, and believe it or not, that is something that the judges are looking for. They're looking for amplitude up from the table as well as distance from the table in your vault.
Taylor Christopoulos, seasoned veteran, two-time captain, 14.15 career high.
We just talked about amplitude. Taylor Christopoulos has plenty of it. Nicely done. Big step there. That's a 3/10 step. But what he did a great job of is stepping directly forward, not going side to side. Remember, the tape lines on the mat, it's the same rule as floor. So if you go out of those tape lines, it's an additional deduction. He does a great job stepping straight forward.
See Chuck watching right in front of the camera, part of the show. Chuck's such a nice guy. I don't mind him getting in the way of the shot. You know what I mean? He can do whatever he wants.
He can spend the whole broadcast there if he wants to.
Our producer, maybe not so much. Here's Matt Cormier, 14.25 career high. Had a 13.6 though in his last meet.
He's also got great form here. Needs to watch out on angles. Gets the stick. He does have 1 foot out of bounds. That will be a 1/10 deduction, but he still gets stick bonus even though he was out of bounds. Good form coming up onto the table. Just a 1/10 leg separation, probably at the beginning and the end of the vault. But I'll tell you, Dean, a stuck landing covers up a lot of mistakes.
Yeah, it's actually unfortunate that he was just a tad out of bounds because he got great amplitude and, like you said, both feet sticking like glue. Here's Nathan York with a 14.45 career high.
Speaking of sticks, I saw Nathan stick this vault just a few weeks ago.
Even Chuck Chavelka said, you gotta not step out of bounds.
Oh, I thought he had it. Just the smallest step back. That'll only be a 1/10 deduction. And you can tell the little smile shared between Nathan and Coach Schmelka there. They both wanted that stick. It's worth noting, Dean, that scores on vault are a little bit lower than they have been in years past. Of course, every other event has gone down from 10 skills to 8 skills. Vaults have been decreased by 4/10 in start value to keep it somewhat in line with the rest of the events.
Landon Simpson, 14.05, 13.9 last week. Woo.
These guys are knocking on the door of some sticks. That was very similar to what we just saw from Nathan York for the Cornhuskers, just barely missing out on the stick. Again, though, only a 1/10 hop and pretty clean in the air. A little bit of leg separation there. Oh, man, if he was just a tiny bit more patient, I think he could have stuck that one.
Randy Jepson. That stern chin. But very pleased with the performance from Simpson. 14:05, which ties his career at season high. Here's Chase Mondi, who is 4th in the Big Ten, 5th in the nation with a 14:35 career high.
And he does a triple twist vault. It's the most difficult vault that we'll see today, but he's got to put it on his feet. Not bad, clean in the air, a little hoppy once he lands, but he does do a good job of controlling those hops. He's not all over the place. 1, 2, 3 times around, a little under-rotated, and takes 2 small hops there. But again, 4/10's higher in difficulty than everybody else on the floor, so he can afford a couple of those minor errors.
Deductions for the 2 hops are?
I would call those 1/10 hops both.
Okay. Michael Giroux. Well, you talk about an athlete who came in with great anticipation, a ton of accolades, has not been totally healthy, but it's good to see him out there. 14-1 career season high, 13.85 last week. The full lineup does 2.5s. It's a very veteran lineup for Randy Jepson.
We've been emphasizing sticks on this event the entire rotation. If anybody can stick a 2.5 vault, it's Michael Giroux. Almost. Again, only a 1/10 step on the landing. He's so casual about it. He just walks off like, yeah, that was a big vault. Now there is a big leg separation there as he came onto the table. That will be a 3/10 deduction. But on landing, one of the most patient gymnasts on the floor does a good job of minimizing deductions.
2 more career highs. Chrysopoulos with a 14-2 for Nebraska. Cormier with a 14-3-5 for Penn State. We'll be back with Rotation 5 on the P-Bars on the Big Ten Network. July 12th, the BTN Big 10K returns to Soldier Field in Chicago. Scan the QR code or register right now at btnbig10k.com to be a part of the 10K or 5K race and post-race tailgate party. I know it's hard to believe, but I did run that 4 years ago when Bill Murray was the Grand Marshal. As you take a look at the scores for Nebraska and Penn State on the vault.
Well, that was a great rotation from both teams. Nebraska notably cleaning up their performance on vault compared to the rest of the season. Even when we spoke to Coach Jamelka prior to the meet, he mentioned that in practice, vault has been a great event for the Cornhuskers, but when they've been competing, they've just been a little bit sloppy, taking steps out of bounds, more hops on landings than normal. They fixed that today. That was a great vault rotation with every single score above the 14 mark, especially capped off there with Chase Mondi's 14.35 with that big triple twist.
Look at how high these 2 teams are ranked both in the country and in the conference.
Yeah, we've been talking about it all afternoon long. The Big Ten Conference is so competitive this year. I really think that moving to the 4-up, 4 count has tightened up scores and made things even more competitive than in years past.
So we end with P-bars and high bar as you take a look. Perhaps Penn State, their biggest variance is on the high bar. Maybe they can pull off something here as they're trying to clinch a regular season title, but right now they're looking 2 back at Nebraska, 221.6, not quite 2, but close to 219.75.
Yeah, high bar is going to be make or break. Really, both of these upcoming 2 rotations. Coach Jamelka told us himself that if Nebraska has an Achilles heel this year, it's on the parallel bars. So Penn State might be able to make up some ground there. And as you mentioned, Penn State ranked 2nd on high bar. It's a high-risk event, but if they can hit, you never know.
Yesterday, a big-time duel where Michigan showed their true colors with their Olympians in action, and a big win over that very good Buckeye team that you talked about, 328.1 to 322.
328 is a huge number. I wouldn't be surprised if a 328 is enough to win a Big Ten championship and maybe even a national title this year. That's a big number.
All right. Congratulations to the Wolverines, who had Mr. Richard and Mr. Judah competing. Ooh.
Folks, that is a steel bar, so that certainly does not feel good. It's actually a new skill for Michael this year. He switched around his routine construction significantly compared to last year. Been looking good all season, but with those high-risk release moves like that, you never know what can happen when the margin for error is so thin.
Randy Jepson saying Penn State on the P-bars, it's probably their best event with strong start values. Carnes is awesome. This is Randy Jepson talking. Cormier and Rubal have done well as well. Strong difficulty and good, super deep lineup, which with the 4-up, 4 count, and then just 12 total athletes, that means you've got some pretty good athletes that aren't always getting opportunities.
That's right. When you move to 4-up, 4 count, and then you only have 12 guys who can compete per meet, it makes the competition within the gym, within the teams, to make a lineup that much more fierce and competitive.
Kasper Garnzarek ready to go for the Nittany Lions with a 13.65 career and season high. 13.4 in his last meet.
This is a good event for Kasper. He's got to be clean on skills like that. Looks like just a little pike in the hips on the way up to the handstand. Every 10th counts, including that one right there. Oh. And unfortunately, that will count as a fall on the apparatus, so that's a full point deduction. And that's the first major mistake that we've seen from either team so far today. And he's got to clean up here after a big mistake like that. Those small hand movements are 1/10 each. There's another one. He can't afford any more missteps. Big dismount, double front. He gets the stick. He'll get at least a couple of tenths back on that dismount. This is a tough skill. It's called a Makut's, and just too far over. And he tries to swing back up to the handstand. Might have made things a little bit worse. You see his legs hitting the bar there. Rack up a lot of deductions there. But again, stuck dismount goes a long way.
So Yanni Chronopoulos will go first for Nebraska, where Chuck Jamelka has said this has indeed been their Achilles heel this year. He's got 10 guys who are solid on the apparatus, but have to figure out how to hit. In fact, when you talked to them a couple days ago, they were doing an inter-squad just on the P-bars.
That's right. They were trying to put some pressure on those 10 guys that he mentioned to see how they perform, honestly, in circumstances like this. Now, I know that what just happened was actually a good thing for Nebraska, but sometimes that makes the pressure go up because you know that you have an opportunity to capitalize here.
Yeah, after what will be counted as a fall for Penn State, Nebraska can take their Achilles heel, flip it, and perhaps get a big enough lead where they'll be in cruise control heading into the final rotation.
This might be the most important rotation of the entire meet. Big skill right here. Straddle front 1 1/4, done very well. See a lot of guys have soft knees on that skill and give up form deductions. Yanni does it beautifully. Big double front dismount. Just the step, or hop rather, on the landing. Little celebration there. Here's that straddle 1 1/4 we mentioned earlier. Big air time. Does not feel good on the upper arms when you land like that, but it's worth a lot of difficulty. And of course that double front, just a small hop on the landing, but that should score well into the 13s for Yanni.
Holsters the guns and seems pretty happy. Ian Robble Jr. There you see how that quote fall affected Casper's score.
And now the pressure is on for the rest of this Nittany Lion team. They have to minimize mistakes from this point forward. You see Ian preparing the bars there. These athletes use chalk, honey, anything they can do to get a grip on the bars. You know, on high bar, they actually have grips that have a dowel to help them grab onto the bar. On parallel bars, you don't get any of that. So if you slip, you're out of there. Mounts with a peach half, done well, a little bit short of the handstand, not a huge deal, probably only a 1/10 deduction. Nice amplitude there. Oh, and there's the Makooch. That's the same skill that his teammate fell on. That wasn't perfect, but he gets through it. Just the dismount left, double front, gets the stick. It wasn't perfect. He had to fight on a few of those skills. And goodness, what control to keep that in between the bars, but it doesn't get better than this. Stuck, double front, dismount. He did exactly what he needed to do. Again, it wasn't perfect, but he's got his team back on track. The momentum has just changed for the Nittany Lions.
Yeah, that dismount was truly controlled. There was no wobble, nothing, just flat out stuck. His body was perfect.
And that's exactly what you want to see. Believe it or not, the judges can take deductions for arm circles, for leaning side to side, so that's how you stick a dismount right there.
Cole Partridge with a career high, you see right there, 13.55. He's got one individual title. That's on the high bar. And he is, like so many members on the team, part of the Tom Osborne citizenship team. A lot of high academic superstars on both teams.
And gymnasts are known for that. I think there's so much discipline, time management skills involved in gymnastics that it naturally translates over into schoolwork for a lot of these guys. Little bit of an elbow bend there. Not a major break, but will lose a couple of tenths. Now this is a big skill coming up. It's called a Bobzar. From one end to the other, gorgeous. One of the few who still does a double pike dismount with this new code. But if you do it that cleanly, why not? Just a small 1/10 hop on the landing. That was a very clean routine from Cole Partridge. The height on that dismount gives him so much time to open up out of that pike position. Here's the Bobzar, though. Watch as he flies over the top of those bars. Great amplitude.
So Cole Partridge, who will also be in Chuck's lineup for the high bar. Chuck with a chest tap for Partridge, as it'll be Casper Garnzarek with a 13.45 career high. You see the scores there. Cormier, 14.05 career high, 13.2 though in his last meet.
And the reason he had a 13.2 in his last meet is because of a very difficult skill that he does early on. Had just a little bit of trouble with it last time out. I'll point it out when he gets to it, but this is a jam-packed routine. Here it is, front uprise stutz. Done pretty well that time.
So Partridge with a new career high for Nebraska a moment ago.
Well deserved.
And Ralvo also with a career high, 13.95.
Cormier. Strong routine, not his absolute best. Looked like he rushed through certain parts of it, but overall kept it clean. And that peach to handstand that he mounted with, you see just a little bit past 90 degrees. There's that skill we mentioned earlier, though, front uprise stutz. The level of momentum and power that you have to do to execute that skill from your upper arms compared to from a traditional support swing makes that skill exponentially more difficult than your typical stutz.
So here's Joey Pape, senior, as you see the scores for Chronopoulos and Partridge. Partridge with the career high, as I mentioned.
And this is really Joey's event. He has great lines in this routine, and he swings very aggressive. You'll notice when he does his peach elements, he pushes his center of gravity away from his hands, which is a high-risk, high-reward strategy.
Pape, a senior from the state of Arizona.
And it doesn't get much better than that, Dean. Those peach element skills there done, as far as I'm concerned, perfectly. Double front, oh, scrambles. Looked like he might have actually touched the upright of the bar there. And that's a shame because that routine was almost flawless. I mean, form was immaculate up until right here. He's going for the stick. You can never attempt to stick. You just have to do a good dismount. And there's his hand touching the bar. Not entirely sure what the judges will do with that. But certainly 3/10, 3/10, 1/10 on the steps. Low squat landing, potentially another 3/10. That dismount's going to hurt him.
Well, and that's going to open the door for the #1 man in the Big Ten, #2 in the nation on the P-bars, and Josh Carnes, a 14.35 this season for a new career high. And that kind of score would work to give Penn State a fighting chance heading in to the last rotation on the high bar.
Dean, I hate to put so much pressure on one man, but Josh has to hit this routine if Penn State wants to get a win tonight on senior night. It's non-negotiable. This is the biggest number that could potentially be put up in the entire competition if Carnes can hit here.
can tell you that Michael Artlip, as you know, while warming up on the high bar, hit his nose on the high bar, and he is going to be a scratch for Penn State. Josh Carnes, #1 in the Big Ten on the P-bars.
You heard his teammates in the background shouting, "Do what you do." One of the most challenging things as an athlete is to know that your team is counting on you to be exceptional and not let that get in your head. Just do what you always do.
He's been exceptional too, hasn't he?
Absolutely. That is just what he does. It's normal for him. There's another Bobsar. Gorgeous flight. I think he does one of the best to pelts in the world. Look at this. So much amplitude. Just the dismount left, and he got the stick. That's exactly what Josh Carnes needed to do, coming through in a big way for his Nittany Lion team.
Randy Jepson.
Here's the Makoots. Again, same skill his teammate fell on. No problem for Josh Carnes. Look at that. You should have to have a pilot's license to do that. I mean, he's flying there. But it doesn't get any better than this, Dean.
So controlled.
No hesitation whatsoever.
That is massive. And we go from one superstar to another as Taylor Christopoulos with a 14-1 career high in the anchor roll.
Dean, normally I would say that as good as what Josh Carnes just did has got to be a little intimidating, but Taylor Christopoulos is such a seasoned competitor. I have a feeling it's not going to get to him at all.
Need to remind you that it was indeed Nebraska that earned their first regular season title last year on the Big Ten Network in Columbus, Ohio.
Beautiful flow through that sequence, just keeps everything moving, gives it a really dynamic look. This has been almost perfect execution so far, Dean. Not the highest difficulty, but just beautiful. Only a small slide back on the landing there. It won't be one of those massive 14-4, 14-5 kind of numbers that you might be able to see from a Josh Carnes, but there's very little that the judges can take on this routine. You got that slide back there. That's about it.
So Michael Giroux, this will not count toward the overall score, but an exhibition and a chance on senior day for Giroux to see what he can do on the P-bars, which will also give Randy Jepson something to think about depending on how he does as they move into the postseason.
That's right, because Michael can be really fantastic on this event. He's one of those guys that's battled so many injuries really throughout his entire college career, but when he's healthy, this is one of his better events.
Randy Jepson, 14-6 for Josh Carnes, a new career high. Wow, how good was Josh Carnes?
Unreal. I mean, a 14-6 last year when there were 2 more skills in each routine would have still been a massive score. Now we're only doing 8 skills. You can still score that huge? Unbelievable. Michael's always had great lines, great aesthetics, really in all of his gymnastics. Case in point. And that's a tough skill. Giant Diamondov, that spin on one arm. Little correction there in the handstand position. And he fought through those last couple of skills. Oh, and I don't know how he stayed on his feet. cat-like reflexes. Not what you want to see, but you've got to respect the fight. He was not falling down on that. Absolutely massive amplitude. Just opens up a little bit early. But the state of mind to stay on his feet, incredible.
14-6 on the P-bars, almost 3 points higher than his best ever score, has kept Penn State in it with the final rotation coming up. Don't miss live coverage of the 2025 Big Ten Women's Gymnastics Championships in Ann Arbor at the Chrysler Center, Friday and Saturday only on the Big Ten Network and the Fox Sports app, featuring another Michigan great in Olivia Karras on the call. That'll be Friday and Saturday, a fun-filled weekend in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Let's recap the P-bars as we head to the final rotation. Let's take a look at the scores of rotation 5.
Well, it was really a missed opportunity from Penn State here. You see that 14-6 from Josh Carnes. Unfortunately, did have to count a fall earlier in the rotation. Still ended up neck and neck, so high bar is going to be the deciding factor here tonight.
On the high bar, Penn State second in the Big Ten, fourth in the nation. Nebraska fifth in the Big Ten, seventh in the nation. So obviously these teams pretty much neck and neck when you start to look at those numbers. Randy did say that on the high bar they've been very sharp and consistent, but Artlip was really a part of his message to you. That's unfortunate when we get to them, as we start with Yanni Chronopoulos with a career high of 13.35.
And Coach Schmelka said they just need to be more consistent on this event. Consistency has been the thorn in their side all year. This is a chance for them to improve on that. Big Tkachev's here from Chronopoulos. Good airtime.
Yeah, last year when Nebraska won the regular season, they had 2 30-for-30s back when it was 5 up, 5 count.
And that level of consistency is what it's going to take to win a Big Ten championship this year. That dismount, though, from Yanni Chronopoulos. Double twisting double A out, 2 flips, 2 twists, just the small slide back. I'd still say that's only a 1/10 deduction. Not the most difficult routine we'll see, but a great way to get things started for the Cornhuskers.
So for Penn State, instead of Michael Artlip, it'll be Kasper Garnzarek with a 13.45 career high. Really unfortunate for Artlip, as that did not look like it felt well as his nose landed right on the bar.
Not at all. Some of those high bar mishaps can be brutal. He's a tough competitor. I'm sure he'll be back sooner than we know. But for now, Kasper will take that leadoff spot for the Nittany Lions.
18th in the country.
And this is a high-risk, high-reward event for Kasper. As you see, Michael Artlip, some creative strategies to stop the bloody nose there. You got to do what you have to do. But here's Kasper. He does do a couple of big release moves on this event. Nice half top. But here's where things get pretty crazy. It's a full twisting double backflip over the bar called a Coleman. Does it very well. Nice form all the way through, but he's not done. Big Tkachev there. That one in the pike position. He's got one more. This one straddled. Beautiful.
Boy, tons of powerful moves in this event.
And so confident. All those release moves were right on the money, and that dismount left no room for ambiguity. He stuck that one cold. Maybe a little bit of a pike in the air. Judges might take 1/10 for that. You know, you can't jump around too much when you got the bloody nose.
Look at the fire from Garnzarek. Cole Partridge, second in the lineup for the Cornhuskers, who obviously came here to spoil the Penn State party, and they're trying to finish it off.
Only a 12.95 for Chronopolis there. A little bit surprised. I thought that might score a little higher.
So Cole Partridge with the career high of 13.55.
Cole also has some big release moves here. He'll do a Kovacs similar to what we just saw from Casper, but without the twist right here. Gorgeous. No form breaks in that at all. Nice layout to Kachev. We'll do one more. Straddled. The distance from the bar is so critical on high bar. If you're a little too far, you miss it. If you're too close, you kill all your momentum. No problem for Cole here. Double twisting, double layout, dismount, small hop. But that's a solid routine. Kovacs one more time. Maybe a slight leg separation, but really nice form all the way through. There's the double-double.
Teammates like it. So that'll bring us to Akseli Karsikis, who was going to be third in the rotation, moves up to second with the nose injury to Michael Artlip. Matt Cormier comes into the lineup in the anchor spot.
And Akseli is just fun to watch on this event. I don't think there's anybody who swings high bar more aggressively than Akseli does.
Next up on the high bar,
Opens up, good talk half, but watch the speed of the swing right here. It's a full twisting, double back. It's the Coleman again. Done pretty well to Kachev's. He'll do two of them. Nice layout right there. That skill looks simple, but requires so much flexibility in the shoulders to pull it off. Just the dismount left, full twisting double layout, easy stick. It's a strong routine from Akseli Karsikis. Again, the Coleman, slight leg separation. And here's what our judges see. Nothing to take on that landing.
Big time performance from Karsikis. Max Otten, the sophomore, with a 14-1 career high and season high set this year. This is his event.
It is, and it's worth noting, routine construction has changed a little bit since last year as well. You can only count 2 release elements of each type. So you used to see people do 3 Takachevs in a routine. No more, you can only do 2 maximum. Skill called a Zoli Min, full spin on one arm. Done nicely. And he does the Coleman as well, full twisting double back. Nicely done, a little bit closer to the bar when he caught it than we've seen before. Same thing there on that Kovacs. He does a great job of minimizing any mistakes there, though. He has such a powerful swing that he doesn't need to be quite as far away from the bar as a lot of other athletes do in order to get that momentum generated after the release. Double-double. A little bit bigger hop on that, probably 3/10. But jam-packed routine. 2 Kovacs-style elements, 2 Tkachev-style elements. Here's the Coleman, the full twist. Pretty good form. Does a great job of keeping his legs and feet together. And, of course, the dismount. 2 flips, 2 twists. Strong routine from Auden.
Speaking of strong, Josh Carnes has been outstanding for Penn State, and they're going to need even better than outstanding. He has a career high of 13.9. You can see Penn State starting to get closer to Nebraska, but they've only got 2 more chances, Carnes and Cormier.
That's right. Carnes on this event is one of the most dynamic pieces of gymnastics that we'll see all day. One of the changes to the code of points that I was really happy with was that they upgraded some unique moves we almost never see. Moves like this. So cool, and you almost never see it, but he's not done. That's a Cassina, that's a Coleman done in a layout position. Makes it just that much more difficult. Gets the stick to top it all off. It's not the cleanest I've ever seen him do, but when you take the amount of sheer difficulty that's in that routine and you combine it with a stuck dismount, Dean, that's going to be a hard score to beat. Such a cool move. That's called a pagan. It's a double front with a half twist over the top of the bar, and again, there's that dismount. Stuck it cold.
Solid all day, Josh Carnes. Trying to keep Penn State in it. Right before him, Karsikas with a new career high on the high bar. We'll wait and see what Carnes' score is. And now Taylor Christopoulos will try to add some points as with their back-to-back 13-8. You see the numbers, 6 in the country for Christopoulos. He's 4th in the conference.
And he's got that same big skill that we saw from Josh Carnes just moments ago. The Cassina double layout over the top of the bar with a full twist. One of the most difficult release elements being done in college gymnastics. And it's coming up right here. Oh, and somehow stays on the bar. He came very, very close to putting his face on the bar there. Somehow happened to save it. Incredible grit and fight from the seasoned competitor, Christopoulos. But he has to be almost perfect. That opens the door for Penn State in a real way. He needs to stick here. Does not 2 hops on the landing. One probably a 3/10, the other possibly a 1/10. That was not what the Cornhuskers needed to keep their sizable lead that they had going into this rotation. Another look at the dismount. Giving up some points at the very end there. Hats off to Christopoulos for staying on the bar and finishing that routine. That was tough, just the amount of energy that it takes to recover from something like that. But it does open the door for Matt Cormier. And you see the Nittany Lion team there, arm in arm. They know what's at stake. A share of the regular season championship title, and it might all come down to this right here.
Look how close the score is as we still have to wait for Christopoulos, but he essentially had a fall there. So here comes Cormier. Christopoulos with a 12-3. That opens up a massive window here.
It does. That was a mistake there from Cormier, though. Loose form on that top half. That Kovacs was gorgeous. Good layout to Kachev. He's got to stay clean. He needs to be almost perfect.
Yeah, he needs close to a 13.
A stick here would go a long way. Double twisting, double back. Oh no. 2 3/10 steps. That's probably 7/10 off on just the dismount alone. It's going to be close, Dean.
Wow.
It was pretty good up to here. 1, 2 big steps. The arm circle. That's 7/10 off. He also had a mistake earlier on in the routine on one of his pirouetting elements.
Remember, he was forced in the lineup because of the injury to Artlip. Practicing on the high bar. You see him right there with the bloody nose. This will be the final performance of the night. Kellen Ryan. It does not count, but gives Randy Jepson, and I think Cormier got a big enough score based on the reaction to give Penn State a share of the regular season title. Will be the first for Randy Jepson. It's kind of new, the regular season title. He needed a 12-7-5. The 12-9-5-0 gives Penn State the win as the door was opened, and in comes Penn State at home.
And now Kellen Ryan in Rec Hall for senior night gets to take his victory lap in front of an ecstatic Penn State home crowd. And a triple back dismount, why not?
Oh, look at the emotion from the parents. They had to come way back to get it done.
I can't think of a better way to end the night than this right here. One of the biggest pieces of gymnastics we saw all day. Triple back dismount off high bar to celebrate a gritty performance by the Penn State Nittany Lions.
Randy Jepson, 34 seasons as the top man at Penn State. They saw Christopoulos, who rarely makes mistakes, with the slip up in the anchor spot for the Cornhuskers. And even without Artlip, Cormier did enough to give Penn State the win and a share of the regular season title. Be back to wrap it up from Happy Valley after this. The Penn State Nittany Lions at home in Rec Hall with season highs on the floor, the pommel, the rings, and then the clutch finish on the high bar, even making a substitution from Michael Artlip. And we're joined by their 34-year top man, Randy Jepson. And Randy, we'll start by saying you have earned a share of the regular season in the Big Ten. What does that mean to you and the great Penn State program?
Well, I'm just so happy for my guys. They've worked so hard, and we've had so much adversity. I'm just thrilled for them.
Coach Brandon Burns, Big Ten Network. When we spoke earlier, you talk about the culture of the team and how everybody is so bought in this year. How did that help when you guys were fighting back to win this meet?
Yeah, you know, we looked up the scoreboard. If you look at the scoreboard, we're 2.5 points down, and anything can happen. You just got to keep your head down and keep plugging. And, you know, we had Artlip go down with a tooth problem. You know, he hit the bar and he lost half his tooth. And I said, you know, let's go out and win this and gain a conference championship. I think he'll make the trade. So Cormier went in and plugged away at that last routine and put us over the top. Just thrilled for the guys.
Yeah, that was clutch, but clutch the entire day for you. Josh Carnes, your thoughts on Mr. Carnes?
Carnes is a phenom, an absolute phenom. You know, he is a guy that we can count on when you need a routine. He's been absolutely stellar, and he just did a great job for us all year, all career. Got a couple more to go here, Big Tens and NCAAs, but really thrilled for him and what he's done here at Penn State.
Well, we can't wait to see you in Michigan for the Big Tens. Randy Jepson, you at least got a share of the regular season. Well done, and congrats to your Nittany Lions.
Thank you. We'll celebrate and enjoy it for a day, and then get back at it.
We know you will. Take a look at the updated standings. Penn State at 3-1. They got it done. It didn't look like they were going to, but they did it.
It was a gritty performance, but I'll be honest with you, Dean, this is the type of meet that gives you energy as you head into the postseason. This proves to this group of young men that they can fight through just about anything that happens to them, and that's a level of confidence that they're going to take with them for the rest of the season.
Josh Carnes, the senior from Erie, PA, and Erie High School. Clutch, as always, for Penn State.
And Josh is just such a confident gymnast. It doesn't matter what event he's on. It doesn't matter how much pressure is on him. He comes through clutch every day of the week, and he certainly did today, especially on those last two events, parallel bars and high bar.
Penn State team celebrating senior night. So they're recognizing the individual apparatus winners. Josh Carnes, a phenom, Randy Jepson called him.
There's no other word for it. He's so good, so talented. But I think what separates him is his mental toughness and discipline in clutch situations like we saw him today. It's one thing to be able to perform, and it's a totally different thing to be able to perform under pressure. But Josh Carnes, undoubtedly the superstar of that Nittany Lions squad.
Penn State with a season-high 54.6 on high bar to close it out and earn the share of the regular season that, quite frankly, looked like it wasn't going to be there.
It didn't. They struggled throughout that meet. And to Nebraska's credit, they had a really, really good meet. I mean, you look at these scores, 328 and 329. Remember, Dean, the top score in the nation right now is a 330. These are championship caliber scores.
Well, it gets me so excited for what we're going to see in Ann Arbor for the Big Ten championships. And we have a couple more duels to bring you on the Big Ten Network as well. Handshakes and hugs all around. Fair play here in Big Ten men's gymnastics. Cormier closing it out. Randy Jepson giving him big credit to step in there with the injury to Artlip. And here comes the regular season trophy. Congratulations to the Penn State men's gymnastics team as they get a share, their first in the regular season. Something new, but they'll take it.
That's right, and to get it at home on senior night and in the way that they did it, it doesn't get any more dramatic than that. That's got to be satisfying for these guys.
Well, you can see the chipped tooth there from Artlip as well. He's not going to forget this
what an
afternoon
picture.
either. All right, Randy Jepson with a share of the regular season title. Your final thoughts on this incredible comeback from the Nittany Lions?
Fantastic meet from everybody involved. Nebraska showing huge potential as they lead into the postseason with that 328-8-5 final score. But Penn State, the heart, the resilience, the grit, and of course, a share of the regular season title. Fantastic competition, and I can't wait to watch both of these teams in the postseason.
So that's going to wrap it up from Rec Hall on the campus of Penn State, Happy Valley. And the Nittany Lions extremely happy as they clinch a share of the regular season title for their 34-year head coach, Randy Jepson. Coming up, it's another episode of On the Beam. For Brandon Burns, I'm Dean Linke. So long from State College, where Penn State wins a share of the regular season title.